Hello all, TK here with another how-to build. Now last week I showed you these Gasland terrain builds and using pencil ferrules for oil drums, but I wasn't overly keen on the scale wise with the tyres, and eventually when you place them next to a car they didn't look as big a scale car. It was kind of janky, not perfect. I know it's a game, but we can alter that. So a bit of hunting on the internet, and we found a 1/64 scale of what the Hot Wheels cars and Matchbox cars are for an oil drum, and there they are in millimeters, diameter 9 to 10 and 13 to 15 mil height. That there, beautifully focused, there we go, is my demo piece, which I made before I found the measurements, even the measurements. So as you can see, it's a better scale. But how do we do that? And how do we make it super cheap? By using that, a cardboard inner from a roll of doggy poo bags. That's all it is. Super thin. You could use a felt pen, but this is card, so it's easy to cut and easy to paint. So we're going to use both ends, either end, because it's got a nice finish. It doesn't matter about the bottom when it's cut, because it's going to get buried in your terrain. So here's a nice picture of a corkboard while I'm getting everything ready. And here we go. So what you need to do is to measure 15 millimeters from either end of the cardboard tube. Now use your box cutter, X-Acto knife, and just gently roll the blade on the cardboard. Do use two hands. I also had one hand holding the camera. It cuts through ever so easy. And here I am pretending to cut one off. And there's one I made earlier. Now the next part is to add the ribs and the ridges on the oil can drum. And with that, we're going to use some decorators masking tape. I've got a thick strip there. You could use 2mm masking tape, the hobby stuff, but I ain't got any. So use with a metal ruler and knife, cut through it. Not on the back of me, my good lady's placemat. She's bloody kill me. Anyway, 2mm strip, so it looks like that. Super thin, and with both hands, which I'm going to do off camera in a minute, attach the tape a third from the top and a third from the bottom of the cardboard tube, and go around twice. So 2 trips around with the masking tape, pull it off. I'll snap it off and it will look something like that. Easy peasy. Next thing to do is to coat it all some PVA, seal it, seal the tape down, and then let it dry. When the PVA is dry, give it a coat of black, or here I've used a dark grey when you can see it. There it is. A dark grey. Let it dry. This is because we're going to use some contrast paints later. So now, using the famous makeup brush and some white paints, we're going to add the highlight. So sticking mainly to the top of the piece, we're going to add the white, gently building it up as we go. So try to stay away from the bottom, because we're going to add a bit of depth, and that will give more of a shaded effect. So it looks like the sun is hitting it from above. Nice and gently. You don't want to obliterate the gap from the tape to the tube, so you want to keep a bit of the darkness there in the crevices, in the recesses, to sell the idea that it is an actual drum and give it some scale and a bit of depth. So just gently tap away till you get to where you need it to look. I mean, you could make them brand new if you want and completely go full white, but obviously this is in the Wastelands and we want them to look a bit beat up and battered. It's up to you. You can do brand new ones, or I'm going for the more weathered look. I say it doesn't take too long, plus because you're adding it with a makeup sponge, it dries really quick. Or you could use a hairdryer to assist. But if you're making a batch load of these, by the time you've done probably 20, the first one you do would be dry. Apologies for the voice, but I've got a bit of a chest infection. So I'm sounding a bit like Barry White. Next, there's the dry white, and we're going to use this express colour Vallejo stuff. A nice bright vivid yellow, so you can have yellow barrels, obviously because I'm a Jaws fan. And then we're going to apply a nice liberal coat. Don't let it pull up too much. A nice coat of yellow on what we're making. This is where leaving the dark at the back bottom of the drum helps sell the shading effect. Don't know what I've gone there. There it is, it's back. Oh, we're doing the top. There we go. That's the top done. Just wick away any of the build up. And that's it. We only need one coat of this stuff. So, because it is a, what's the word? Terrain. There we go. It's terrain, so don't need to go bad. And then mad. We're wasting all your good paints. And now a watery 50-50 Agrax to water mix. We don't want it darken it too much, but still add a bit more shade. So one blob of Agrax to one blob of water. And again, slap it on, wick away the big drips, and brush it away down to the bottom so it's darker at the bottom. And then we can see where we've put the ridges in, starting to sell the idea that it's a metallic oil drum. If it was in shot, there it is. And then let that dry, and then we're nearly done. While this has been going on, I have painted silver on the inside of the drum, but I didn't film that bit. So there it is, dry. And then we go for the final touch, which is to add some rust effect with some dirty down rust. Now, we're not going to go too mad with this because it's quite expensive and it is a terrain piece. Hey, I remembered what it is. So the first bits I'm going to add on a neat. So I'm going to give it a good dollop around the bottom, because obviously that's, if there's any moisture in the wastelands, that's where it's going to affect it most, when it's touching the ground. And then the odd dab. Now, what I'm painting has already been worn because I've been using the hairdryer to dry it, and I've had the dirty down bottle on the radiator because it goes on better when everything's warm, and that helps apply it. So slap it on to get a look that you like, and then when you're there, use some water on the brush. So clean your brush, and then just use some neat water with no dirty down rust in it, just to blend the edges away, to take away the harsh edges, like that big dollop there. Just gently rub it on because it's still wet. It'll blend it all in, because that dirty down rust dries really quick. So just work a little bit of time if you're doing a bigger piece, but as I'm only doing a little part, it's not too bad. So just blend away with the water. Generally do it so people can't see it. Oh, the old classic, do it around the top hole. And I think we're nearly done. Now what I didn't do on this, I didn't put any chipping on it, which could do. But I didn't on this one. Probably will on the next ones. Or when I've got a load together, probably do the chipping. And there is the dirty down. Oh no, I'm back in with a bit more. I'm not happy with that bit. But you can see the nice fade from the light to the dark at the base. And voila, there she is. I think the battery on my camera was going, so there's no light. Hence it looks a bit darker. But we can see the ridges. There's the drum. And then we'll see what it looked like against the old thing. The old pencil ferrule. You're good for a week, but now there's a new master in town. So I like the scale much better. Makes me happy inside. There we are, next to the car. You nicked mine. There's my Mad Max impression. So the oil drums, get rid of that. Goodbye. And we'll stick that on my terrain piece and see what it looks like. Bosh, look at that. Way better. Way better. Looks like it's been there forever. So there you go. Some donkey poo bag oil drum terrain pieces already for Gaslands. I've been TK. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye.